All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pull out your babysitting graph from earlier this week. So we did a babysitting graph, we did a babysitting schedule, and we did a babysitting curve. So pull that out, find some room next to it, and I want you to write these 5 sentences next to your babysitting graph. For each sentence, I want you to work together as a group to see if you guys can figure out what factor am I using, so which of the 6 factors that cause a change in supply. So those were that chart that we finished yesterday. And then draw what happens to the supply curve. Remember, the supply curve is upward sloping, so show what happens to if it causes a right shift or a left shift. Okay? So whoever's playing the video right now, please pause the video. Give everybody some time to be able to try and figure this out as a group, and then start playing the video again so that I can go over the answers. All right, hopefully everybody got some time to be able to go through figuring this out on your own. So let me go through the answers with you. So first one is talking about the price of gas triples. How is gas related to babysitting? Well, when you babysit, you more often than not are probably going to have to drive to wherever you're babysitting. So gas is considered an input. Now, because the price of gas triples, how does that affect your willingness to babysit? Well, then it's going to cause a left shift in supply because you're going to be less willing to babysit at every single price. Number 2 says the number of teenagers in the area increases. Okay, so if the number of teenagers in the area increases, that's the people that are actually doing the babysitting, so that is going to be number of sellers. So now what happens is that now we have an increase in the number of sellers, the number of people willing to babysit. So that's going to be a right shift in supply. Number 3, the IRS requires you to declare your babysitting earnings. Who's the IRS? The Internal Revenue Service, which is part of the federal government. So this is government action. So the IRS requires you to declare your babysitting earnings, maybe meaning that they're going to tax them, because right now they're not. Okay, that would essentially increase taxes for babysitting. So you're going to pay more taxes, so it's going to be a left shift in supply. Then it says the price of babysitting will drop next week. Because it's talking about next week specifically, this makes it expectations. Now, what happens to my willingness to babysit now? Well, because next week the price is dropping, I'm much more willing to babysit right now, so it's going to be a right shift. All right, last one says you take a class on best babysitting practices. Okay, so this is related to the people that are actually doing it. And so we're talking about making you, hopefully, a more productive worker, so this is going to be labor productivity. Now, once you get to labor productivity, what happens to your supply curve? So when you have a class and you're trained more, it's going to make you much more willing to offer babysitting services. So it's going to be a right shift in supply. All right, hopefully you got those right. If you didn't, make sure you make corrections in your notebook to whatever it is that you got wrong. And now you guys are going to do index card activity.